means keep going. Keep going. We got help at the end of the day, and we have to keep going.
That's perfect.
This is Said Ghassanejad, the right-hand man of Prince Reza Pahlavi.
And somebody with a lot of criticisms, here and there for,
Yes.
The way United States and Israel sometimes do things. So
Yes.
this coming from him makes me feel confident.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then some of you may be wondering, okay, so this is another expert who oftentimes works with Said Ghassanejad to make articles and come up with data about the oil exports of the Islamic Republic. So basically,
He's from the FDD.
Yes, yeah, this guy, both Behnam Ben Talibu and Said Ghassanejad are geniuses like Armin. He's saying in February, the Islamic Republic exported over 2 million barrels per day. In May, they exported 64,000. That's a 97% reduction, if you just want to frame a reference. So 97% less exporting of oil. The Islamic Republic got 4 oil tankers through during this blockade. That's it. Then he's saying, okay, if the blockade is lifted, there's still a lot of things that we can do to drive down Iranian oil exports. Not back to where it was, right? They'll still probably rise because of this blockade being lifted. But he wants to remind you guys that in 2019, there were months where Iran exported 100,000 barrels per day. That's that's also like a 95% reduction, okay? So there's a lot of things that you can do. There's economic fury and etc. What are these experts trying to tell you? Both Said Ghassanejad, Behnam Ben Talibu, they're telling you that the fight's not over. It's not just done. No one's lost. In fact, we don't even know what the MOU is yet. Even if the United States and Israel stopped helping us completely, we are still going to keep going.
Go lower. 2022 was lower, but then you have to account for COVID. Okay. In some, trading away the blockade while an anti American regime remains in place can only be offset by escalating maximum pressure, sanctions, and targeting the financial structure supporting Iran's ability to, operate trade fronts.
So he wants in exchange for the blockade to be lifted, for the United States to start cracking down on the selling of oil by the Islamic Republic. They have shadow fleets. We know where all of them are by now. If they sell their oil, let's make sure the money doesn't go back to the Islamic Republic. That's what he would like to see.
True. However, I think the priority should be President Trump. Everything that we're saying here should be done after President Trump attempts to get the enriched uranium out using a deal. I think like the priority should be just removing this card that the Islamic Republic has from their hand. And then after that, you could just go all out and do whatever. Right? In a way. Because you can't take the enriched uranium out with military force. So do whatever trickery, manipulation, MOU, deal, mind games, whatever you need to do to get that goddamn nuclear dust out of there. And then once they don't have that, then there's nothing that can stop you anymore. That's the only thing that can't be removed with military operations. Everything else has a military solution. I mean, at least from the US and Israeli side, except this one. So that's why President Trump needs to work on this so-called deal. They need to try to do that. And then after that, you go all out. Get the dust out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And here's one thing that the Islamic Republic is saying that they're going to do in particular. They're basically saying, they're like, okay, hey, 60 days ceasefire or 60 days for the MOU. Okay. But after the 60 days is over, which is what they're saying here in this, after the 60 days is over, we're going to start charging service fees. And they say the service fees are because you need navigation services and coordination and security, and it might end up being $2 million. So it's probably not any. It's a toll. It's a toll. They're going to charge a toll. They're just calling it something else. But they're saying for 60 days we won't. Then we'll start doing it with Oman.
So you know what I think might have happened here with regards to the 60 days, because I saw that. So guys, the Americans are saying there's not going to be any toll. The Islamic Republic first came out and said there will be a toll. And then Arakshi came out and said we can't have tolls because it's a natural waterway. It's not like a canal that we built. But we might, we're going to do a service fee, but not a toll. And a lot of people within the regime hated that he said that, right? And then now what they're saying, Ali, look how sneaky these fuckers are, right?
Yeah.
The regime media is, right? They're saying, okay, guys, the MOU is for 60 days there will not be a toll, and then after 60 days there will be a toll. Do you know what they're trying to do?
Because they want the U.S. Navy to lift the blockade and go home at the end of the 60 days. And then they're saying, okay, after the 60 days, then we'll charge the toll. But I think you were going to say something different.
No, I'm saying that this is managing the expectations of the pro-regime people. Because I think these people know that they're not going to be able to collect a toll. You know why the MOU cannot have? This is a lie. They're saying that in the MOU, there's an agreement for the Islamic Republic to collect a toll after 60 days. Do you know how I know that cannot be in the MOU? Because it is not up to the US. This is a global thing. The Strait of Hormuz is not owned by the United States for the United States to be able to give that right to the Islamic Republic. This is an international waterway. The United States couldn't even, the United States would be violating international law if we're like, hey, okay, I'm going to give you that in this MOU. The rest of the world were like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? This is not even yours to give to the Islamic Republic. This is it. Okay, so that is not in the MOU. But the reason why they're writing that is because they're just, the Islamic Republic is trying to buy time, not with the United States, but with their followers. They're like, holy shit, how do we? This is what the Islamic Republic is saying. The Islamic Republic is like, oh my God, what the fuck do we do once these people realize that we're not going to be collecting a toll? They're going to like, guys, there's not going to be a toll for the first 60 days, but then we're going to have a toll. And then you might ask me, like, okay, Armin, what are they going to do after the 60 days? They're going to figure that out later. They're just trying to buy time. This proves that the Islamic Republic is terrified of its own followers because they're just trying to delay the outrage. They're like, guys, we agree with the Americans that we're not going to have a toll for 60 days. So they're just trying to manage the outrage of the regime supporters. That's what this is.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission.
I don't think they need to ask for forgiveness because I think the Islamic Republic is thinking this whole thing is going to go to shit within 60 days anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is going to be there. Like, we're going to have bigger problems to have to deal with in 60 days.
I just think it's so funny at how stupid they think the U.S. is. They think the U.S. are idiots because they literally are saying, hey, you guys need to remove the blockade and pack up your troops and go home within the 60 days. Oh, by the way, after the 60 days, we're gonna charge tolls. It's like, oh, you're just gonna wait for them to go home and you're gonna charge tolls?
But Ali, they don't think the United States is stupid. Okay, they think their followers are stupid. Like, this is not for the Americans. Okay, the audience for this is not the Americans. The audience for this is their own retarded fan base, which they are correct to think that they're idiots. I mean, half of them at least, yeah.
They are idiots, but here's the thing.